Oh man. Well, let's start Tim Ford drama then. MLS referees, they are soccer people too, funny enough. You don't just get to be a random nobody who then gets to referee games. You have to like the game and be a part of it. And they have clubs that they're connected to, just like anybody else, right? And while they try to remain neutral to the job at hand, naturally, any call in favor or against a specific team will be met with an intense level of scrutiny. And we see this all the time, right? If you look at the New York Red Bulls, for example, literally any team that plays against us, the referee, it's their favorite team because we always get the calls against us. We never get anything in for us. It's ridiculous. However, most recently, our friends in Vancouver have brought up a gripe against Tim Ford for repeated poor performances against their side. So, just to give you a rundown of what the problem is, some of us are old enough to remember the 2023 MLS Cup playoffs, where LAFC knocked out the Vancouver Whitecaps in two games in round one. They were given a PK to win the second game 1-0. And Vanni Sartini was sent off in that game, leading to some infamous comments suggesting that if Tim Ford were found, I don't know, unalive floating in a river, that the police would have to contact him first. An absolutely elite press conference that I still can't believe is real, but that happened. Tim Ford was in charge of that game, giving the penalty to LAFC and winning the game, letting them win the game 1-0. Not letting them, but the game won 1-0. Vanni Sartini also sent off in that match for his, comments and gestures and such. This past week, he was in charge of San Jose versus Vancouver. He sent off Eddie Ocampo for two very soft yellows and then gave San Jose a penalty kick, which would win them the match at the end of the day. Jesper Sorensen was quoted as saying that everybody saw a man slip in the box and only one man saw a penalty kick. We then live in the world of VAR where they also said a man slipped in the box and Tim Ford still said penalty kick. While the outcome cannot be changed, the suspension and the fine for Ocampo was rescinded. So he's no longer suspended. He doesn't have to pay a fine because they saw that there was a clear and obvious error. All of this leading to the real story, which we were, hinting at before. It was found that Tim Ford attends LAFC matches with his family. According to his wife's Instagram post, Bank of America Stadium at the time, or BMO Field now, is Tim and his kids' happy place. This goes back further to show that in 2023, a few days before the playoff match that we were just speaking of, his kids got to meet and greet all of the LAFC players right before he refereed the second game. So it's time to ask, do we think referees are biased against certain MLS teams? Share your thoughts.
I mean, like you said, they're humans, right? Like they're gonna probably have, whether they show it or not, they're probably going to have some level of bias towards certain teams and certain players. And maybe it's just based off of how they get treated by certain teams and by certain players. But I mean, listen, I think from what I can see online, it's majority of just Whitecaps fans talking about it. So I don't necessarily think that anybody outside of the West Coast is putting too much time and effort into this whole conversation. However, little homage to my referee of the year there. This is just not a good look, period. To like have social media posts of you and your family supporting one specific team. Like it's just not a good look. Like I think there needs to be some level of understanding that if you're going to be a referee in the league, that you and your family just cannot be making posts on social media in support of one specific club. Like it's different if you're just like, hey, we went to MLS Cup semifinals at BMO Stadium and it was a really good time. Like it was a lot of fun being at the game, but it's like you're in LAFC merch, you're taking pictures with LAFC players, you're taking pictures at the like with LAFC jerseys on at the LAFC stadium. Like it's just not a good look. Regardless of like even regardless of what the calls are on the field, it's just still like a bad look. If this were happening in the Prem, people would be up in arms. Like I genuinely think this is not something that's exclusive to how people are reacting in Major League Soccer. Like this is just it would not be a good look in any sports league anywhere in the world.
Yeah. First off, Vancouver. He's basically saying nobody cares about you. Did you hear that? Oh, only people in
I did
Vancouver are
not.
talking about it. Nobody cares about Vancouver, is what he's saying. So please roast him in the comments. And while you're here, make sure you're
I
following us,
did
right?
not say nobody cares about Vancouver. I just said that when I scroll through, I looked up, I literally Twittered Tim Ford, and it is strictly all Vancouver accounts talking about it.
Vancouver, he's saying you don't matter. So make sure you go get him. And I didn't
They
say
do
this
matter.
before.
I love Vancouver. I've actually been to Vancouver, unlike you.
Wow.
Have you been to Vancouver?
This is giving. I'll tell you off air. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna make that joke here.
No,
Um,
I know what you're thinking.
um, I didn't say this before. Make sure you're following us on social media so that you can get involved with some of our comments. We're gonna do something at the end here that I'll allude to, but you definitely want to be following us to be a part of it. I think this is such a non-story. Like this got blown out of proportion to the levels of ridiculousness, right? You can argue, and I do think it's fair, right? The LAFC thing was weird, right? If you're a fan, if you're a referee, you shouldn't be taking your kids to meet the players a few days before you referee the biggest game of their season to that point, right? It's just a little weird. And even if you do, don't post it, right? Stay off the socials. Don't post it. You have, or even don't go with them, right? Let the wife take them, let grandpa take them, aunt, uncle, whatever. Or if you want to go, stand off to the side and don't be in front of the cameras, right? Don't pose for all these pictures and stuff because it does cast into light this feeling of, oh, this is kind of sketchy. I don't know about it. That being said, to go out and say that he is clearly biased, again, you mentioned this is a Vancouver complaint, right? To say that he's completely biased against Vancouver after seeing him posted up in appears to be LAFC gear, and I have to say that because, and I'll just get to it now. Tim Ford was cleared of any wrongdoings because, and I quote from the pro uh, uh, press release, they could not conclude if he was wearing LAFC merch. For whatever reason, all of his family were wearing the stuff, but they couldn't conclude that he was wearing any of it, so he got cleared. That being said, to go back and say that he's biased against Vancouver because of this after a game that didn't even involve LAFC is like the biggest stretch I've ever seen. I'm not saying it's a good look, right? I'm not saying like, oh yeah, no, this is fine. Don't worry about it. But to say that he intentionally caused you to lose or gave a red card to Ocampo and gave a penalty against Tristan Blackman just to make sure Vancouver lost, so that LAFC, who are currently 12 points back, by the way, from the top of the West, I think they're 8 or 9 points back from Vancouver, is crazy, right? Like what is this idea? Like, oh man, Tim Ford is the referee for Vancouver and he's an LAFC fan, so he's making sure we lose. And then you look at the standings; they're 12 points back. This is absurd. ESPN posted an article that outlined this, but it ended with the records of Vancouver and LAFC when Tim Ford officiated a match. Did you see this, or can I have you guess? Go ahead, have a guess.
I haven't
What's
seen it.
Vancouver's record? 9 games. 9 games.
I'm guessing Vancouver has won four, lost two, and tied three.
They're 3-3-3. I was making sure your math was right there for a second. Yeah, they're 3-3-3. They're a perfect 500. He hasn't favored them. He hasn't gone against them. They're 3-3-3. What about LAFC with 7 games?
I'm gonna say, well, I can't split it across the board, but I'll say two wins, two draws, three losses.
3 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. They're 3-2-2. They're making it sound like Vancouver hasn't won in 8 years since he's been a referee, and LAFC hasn't lost since he's existed. Like, what are we doing here? Referees get things wrong, right? Allow it. As I mentioned, Tim Ford was not sanctioned. He got off. Do you agree with that? Do you think he should have been sanctioned? I think I know where we're going with this, but just to wrap it up.
Probably not. I don't think so. I mean, I think it should definitely be pretty clear to referees, though. I still stand by the fact that I think they should not be posting, like anybody themselves or an immediate family should be posting about basically in support of specific teams. Like it's very clear that the family is an LAFC supporter. I don't think there's any beating around the bush on that one. But every single fan base can probably put together an entire compilation of this ref is biased against my club.
And they
Like
have,
everybody can.
and they have.
Yeah, and they have. Exactly. Like everybody's gonna have a complaint about a referee because you're not gonna remember the good calls, right? It's just gonna go into the back of your mind, whatever. You're gonna remember the bad calls. It's always gonna stick with you. It's gonna stand out more. So it's like, oh, this person has reffed 15 of our matches over the last however many years. I can distinctly remember these two or three bad calls that they've had against my team. Like clearly they suck. They hate our team. They're biased against our team. Like, listen, maybe he has a bad game every now and then. What player doesn't have a bad game? People just have off days. Like it happens. I don't think he should be sanctioned. I think there should be clear communication to people though within the referee space that like you just can't be posting on social media in support of another team. Like it's just regardless of any sort of favoritism, it's just not a good look. It's not a good look for the referees. It's not a good look for the league.
No, and I completely agree, right? I think my thought process is the exact same, right? I even think them coming out and being like, we couldn't conclude if he was wearing LAFC merch. I don't care if he was or not, because I don't think that is impacting his decision making, because refs get things wrong all the time. Refs get things wrong in big games. It happens, right? And that's where the microscope comes in, right? Oh yeah, he clearly missed this. And if you go back, also by the way, stalking somebody's wife 2 years into the past of her Instagram post is weird. That is weird creepo
It's
behavior.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just because you
I
were upset with a call?
yeah, I cannot get behind this idea of like, again, it's giving like, oh, kid gets drafted. Let's go look back at his, post from 2007 and see if we can cancel him. Like, relax, people. He gets things wrong. It happens. I think the best thing that came out of this was that the pro referees, they came out and are reevaluating their process for, and I quote, what constitutes a connection with the club for their referees. And that's great. Improve your process, get more solid around what this means, be able to lay things out and have rules and regulations, whatever. But this is a non-story, right? This is insane. I can't believe that this. I can't believe we're talking about this, but here we are.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of a story, but I don't think it's a big story, and I don't think it should become a big story. Like we should just resolve it and move on. I don't think it should become a big thing.
Well, unfortunately, the fourth biggest MLS podcast in the world is talking about this, so it's going to become a big thing. So it's our fault when it does. So sorry about that.
You should be.